Jehovah, He is God. Provider, 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 provider. He keeps making a way. Jehovah, He is God. Waymaker, He makes my way straight. Every time I turn around, He keeps on making a way. And I love Him, I love Him. The devil trying to attack my body, but by His stripes I'm healed. I thank God for the blood of Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Strong tower. In Him I'm safe. He fights my battles, yeah. Hallelujah. If God is for me, who can be against me? No weapon formed, no weapon. Jehovah, He is God. He's the provider. He's the way maker. He's the strong tower. He's the healer. He's the Lord God Almighty. He can heal every disease and open doors you could not see and do the things that no one else can do. Jehovah, He is God. I will obey the commands of the Lord. I will obey the commands of the Lord. He is almighty, He stands by His word. He is almighty, He stands by His word. I will give praise every morning I rise. I will give praise every morning I rise. His name is holy, there's no one beside. His name is holy, there's no one beside. Strong Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord our God. He is God alone. He is God alone. Do you believe it? I will believe the report of the Lord. I will believe the report.
Check 1, 2.
He's our protector, our shield and our sword. He's a mighty God. I will declare all the things He has done. Yes, the creator of the universe. He has done miracles and wondrous works. Oh, Shema, Israel, the Lord our God.
Welcome, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited about tonight as we are doing our first town hall meeting of this year of 2022, and we are excited tonight. It's going to be different from our normal Bible study, but listen, I need everybody, and I mean everybody. I want you to get on the telephone, send out text messages, emails, tell family and friends we are on. This is so critical, so important that you are on this town hall virtual meeting tonight. It is going to be informative, enlightening. It's going to, again, help you this year. Listen, as we're seeing so many changes take place in our nation, we need to make sure, outside of us praying and asking God to move, we have a civil duty, and that is to get out here and vote. If we want to see change take place in our state, within our communities, within our counties, please understand it's so important that this upcoming election, we understand the process. There are some changes. There's some new dates that you need to be aware of. We don't want you to miss anything. So please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, get on the phone, tell people we're on tonight. This is not a night to take off and say, oh, well, pastor's not teaching, he's not preaching tonight. No, this is just as important as the teaching and preaching of God's word, because again, after we have received the word of God, after we have prayed, now we got to get up and we're going to have to do something. And so tonight, our first town hall meeting, I'm so grateful that our social justice team has gathered together officials in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia that's going to be with us on tonight. And so, listen, you're going to get some great information. So please hit that like button, hit that share button, tell people we on. Do not tune off. Stay on throughout the entire night. It is going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. All right, we're going to open up in a word of prayer and just have one song of worship, and we're going to jump right into tonight's session, tonight's town hall. I'm so excited. Within the Shepherd's House, our database, we have about 4,600 people within our database and about 2,800 residents of Maryland. We have 398 that are residents of the District of Columbia, and then we have 269 that are residents within Virginia. And so we have representatives from all areas, and then the remaining balance of people who are outside of the state, outside of the DMV. But listen, this is going to be a great time for you to understand this is an important election because of the primaries. You got to make sure you understand what's going on in the primaries, because dates and things of that nature change, and there have been some process change. So let's pray. Father, we thank you right now for your grace, your mercy, your loving kindness. We do ask, oh God, now that you'll be with us. Open up our ears, our understanding. Lord, let us understand our civil responsibility during this time in this season as we pause for a moment and begin to understand even all the more our process. We thank you. We glorify you now in the name of the Lord Jesus. Bless our officials that are on tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Listen, we're just going to have one song of worship to continue to set our atmosphere. We always need to invoke God's presence, and then we're going to jump right into tonight's discussion. Let's worship. Well, please forgive us for that. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're going to go forward anyway. And because we already know God's presence is with us. And so, again, please forgive us for that. But listen, I need you to do me a favor, as I said at the top of the hour, hit that share button right now. Get on the phone, send out text messages. Listen, family, it's important. This town hall meeting is important as we understand the whole voter registration process on tonight. Our social justice ministry has put a wonderful thing together on tonight. And so listen, I don't want you to change the channel, whether you're watching from YouTube or whether you're watching from our Facebook page or whether you're watching from our website. Listen, this is important because after we pray and ask God for change, we have a responsibility to get up now and get out there and vote. It's our responsibility to get out there and vote. And so, again, this is going to be a great, great time. I want to introduce to you tonight, many of you already know, David Marshall, who is the head of our social justice ministry, who's put together a wonderful, wonderful team of men and women that assist and aid in this particular way. And this is where we get all of our information about what's happening on a local level, on a state level, and what's happening on the federal level. And so David's going to set the tone, just give us an overview of tonight's session, and so that we're ready to go. David?
Yeah, a main part of our mission with the social justice ministry is to educate our members of the congregation and the community with regards to the voting process, and then to encourage those individuals to not just register, but to actually go out and vote. So tonight's town hall is extremely important because we do live in a unique area. It's a three-state region with Virginia, Maryland, DC, and not all jurisdictions have the same voting process. So what we did, we as far as this town hall, we brought in representatives from various boards of elections, and then they're going to provide an overview of their process and then answer critical questions as it pertains to their specific jurisdictions. So we also understand that a lot of people, they tend to vote only during presidential years, but the midterm elections are equally important. So Regina Gilmore, she serves as the co-lead with the Social Justice Ministry, and she's going to speak briefly on the importance of this year's midterm elections.
Okay, we call them midterm elections because it's in the middle of the presidential term. And we've got to realize that midterms are more important in many ways than sometimes the presidential election. And we have a responsibility there because during these midterms for 2022, and of course, every 2 years, we're electing members of Congress who either they're being elected or reelected. And they're so important because if the president doesn't have their support, many things get logged down, and we don't get the laws that we need passed. So when there are a lot of partisan voting and all, it's incumbent upon us to get out there and vote and make sure that we're represented and heard so that majority of our wishes are actually enacted in laws and bills. And some of the things that we've talked about right now when we're looking at what's going on with midterms, we're looking at things that have already occurred for us, and we want to make sure they continue, such as that we have now more accessibility to voting. Our ballots, like in DC, they're automatically sent to people. In Maryland now, we can ask that for a lifetime, that we receive the mail-in ballots, and that's so important to make that kind of accessibility to us. All other things that our state and our local and county officials are responsible for, and we have to make sure that we're voting that they represent us. When we look at things like we just had the 30-day tax holiday, that was very important to the financial aspect. And Virginia is looking at a 90-day tax exemption or holiday on gas because it's very expensive. Right now in the state of Maryland, police reform and police transparency goes into effect on July 1st. And those things are very, very important for our safety and information. And we're really looking at how things are done and we're protected in our state. We look at in 2021, Virginia eliminated capital punishment. Those are kind of local things, gun sale controls and crime bills that are going in to protect us in school board elections and how what's taught in the classroom and the use of our resource officers in school. Those are things that are done at the state level that is not a presidential thing. So it's very, very important that we participate in the midterms.
Thank you so much.
So basically, I'm going to send it back to who's going to give us a little bit on housekeeping.
Okay. So I have the pleasure of introducing our panelists. We have Camille Key, Public Affairs Specialist, Voter Education and Outreach Division, the District of Columbia Board of Elections. We have Justin Knershield, Senior Assistant Registrar, City of Alexandria, Virginia. Gilberto Zelaya, widely known as Dr. Z, Community Engagement, Public Relations Officer, Montgomery County Board of Elections. Nicole Hill, Election Judge, Recruitment and Outreach Division, Anne Arundel County Board of Elections. And Freddie Colston, who's had 30 years with the Prince George's County Board of Elections as a Democratic Chief Election Judge and Technician. The format for our town hall this evening will be our panelists will provide an overview of voting requirements for their jurisdiction, followed by questions and a moderated discussion by Pastor Kevin. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Pastor.
Thank you so much. We're going to start with Virginia and Justin in just a moment. Just so you guys know, Virginia has already elected their governor and lieutenant governor and their state's attorney. They did that back in November of 2021. But there are up for, in 2022, this year, there are 11 U.S. House of Representatives and local elections that are taking place in this particular way. And so Justin is going to just give us a brief overview of the process. Remember, as David said earlier, we're in this Tri-City, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. The process is different in each area. It's so important that we understand it in this particular way. So, because these midterm elections are extremely important. So I want you to listen up. Again, we have 278 of our members and friends that live in Virginia. So it's important that you understand the process in Virginia. Justin?
Yes, so within Virginia, in order to register to vote, individuals need to be a U.S. citizen who will be 18 or older by the next general election and not had their voting rights revoked. In order to apply, they just need to complete a registration application. If you have a Virginia DMV issued ID, you can do this online through the state's website. If not, you will need to complete a paper registration application. And this can be completed at any voter registration office. If you have a printer at home, you can download it, mail it into our office, or any office can mail it out to you. For the election that we're having, it'll be in our area of Virginia. We will only have a contest for the Democratic nominee for the 8th Congressional District. And in order to vote in that, individuals must be registered by May 31st. And that election will be on June 21st. For this election, there will not be same-day registration. If individuals want a ballot mailed to them and they have not already requested that ballot, they do need to submit an application for this. The deadline to receive a ballot in the mail, they must submit that request by June 10th at 5 p.m. And that has to be when the office receives that application. Usually when we get a request from a voter, we're able to get that ballot mailed out the next business day. And absentee voting will start 45 days before the election. So this will be on Friday, May 6th, is when ballots will start going out to voters. And that's also when we will have in-person voting begin. So in-person voting, Alexandria, you'll be able to do that at the main office. And any individual that is registered within the city of Alexandria will be able to come to the office during office hours to vote early in person. If voters wait until election day, they will have to go to their assigned precincts. The deadline to vote in person is June 18th. But this year, we will have Sunday voting as well, and that'll be on Sunday, June 12th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. If individuals wait until election day, they will need to go to their assigned precincts. On election day, precincts will be open from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. Like I said earlier, there will not be same-day voter registration for this election. Currently, that is scheduled to change for November, so that'll be a future implementation. Another thing that we had to note is election officials. We're always looking for more individuals to help work the polls on election day, and the requirement is that you do have to be a Virginia registered voter. But the best way to apply is to go to the locality's website for where you live. It's okay if you're a Fairfax voter to go and work in the city of Alexandria or any other county that needs more help on election day, but we always try to assign people closer to where they live. And we always want to know as well if individuals are looking at working only on election day or if they can help out with the early voting process as well. And I believe that was all the quick hits that I had for now.
Okay, let me ask you a couple questions real quickly, just so we know. What is the process for registering to vote or voting if a citizen has a felony conviction?
Yes, if an individual has had a felony conviction and they are unsure if their rights have been revoked, they can go on the state's website, restore.virginia.gov, and check if their rights have been restored. And if they haven't yet, they can request their rights to be restored through that website. And then they would just need to indicate as such on the registration application.
Okay, and then what is the process for requesting an absentee ballot depending upon the different, if you're a college student that's out of state or military?
For military, there's a separate federal application that we usually try to recommend for folks because it works for multiple election cycles. And that way we also automatically notify those voters when that application does expire. For kids that are away at school or they're out of state or they're going to be out of state on election day, they can just use the same form that is for all absentee voters just to get the ballot mailed out to them. I always tell folks, make sure that, parents aren't completing it for the kids. The kids have to complete the form, and it's always best to make sure that they indicate to get the ballot mailed to their college address. And that's just to save as much time in the mail as possible to make sure it gets right to them.
Thank you for that. And just for those who are going to be mailing in their ballots, if they mail it in and don't sign it, will they be notified?
Yes, they will be notified. So we try to make sure that we notify those individuals as quickly as possible. So if we have a phone number for them, if we have an email address for them, we'll reach out usually the same day that we receive that ballot in the mail. If we do not have any of that information on file, we'll be reaching out to them by mail. So that way they can try to come in and either get that corrected, or then we'll work with them to figure out what the best way is to try to fix that situation.
And can you just go over again, I know you mentioned it, but one more time, what are the voter ID requirements when voting in person?
Yes, so when voting in person, voters are required to show a form of ID. This has changed a little bit since the last time that I spoke. The most common form that we will have as election officers is a Virginia DMV issued ID, but the most common forms, if a voter has a photo ID, it needs to bear their photo as well as their name. So other types from the DMV ID include a ID that's issued by the federal government, like a U.S. passport or a military ID, by the state of Virginia or a locality within Virginia. If an individual is a student at a public or private high school within the state, they can also use their student ID. And this has recently also been expanded to all universities within the U.S. rather than just within Virginia. There are a few other types that are acceptable, such as an employee photo ID. If an individual does not have a photo ID, some other types that they can use are a government issued document with their name and their current address where they're registered on it, a utility bill with their name and their address, or a bank statement with their name and their address. And there is also now a form that can be completed at the polls if the individual has none of those acceptable types of ID.
Thank you so much, Justin. Now, can you just real quick, for those who may not know, what is a provisional ballot?
Yes, so a provisional ballot is what a voter is issued when there is either a issue with their registration and we cannot find them properly within the poll book, if there is an absentee ballot that has been issued to that voter that cannot be accounted for, or just another situation that appears unexpectedly. And what this is it is a type of ballot that allows the office to get some time to research, should this individual have been able to vote routinely, to see if they were properly registered and there was just an issue looking up the individual in the poll book, or if that absentee ballot has been accounted for and they should have been able to check in routinely. And after the election, once all the information regarding the provisional ballots has been researched, we give those to the electoral board and they make determinations on whether that ballot should be able to be counted or not, based upon whether that individual should have been able to vote routinely.
Okay, and so the provisional ballots, they will be counted.
It depends on the situation. We always try to recommend that if the individual should have been able to vote routinely, that those ones be counted. One thing that does happen sometimes more in Alexandria is that individuals leaving DC late in the day, they still want to make sure that they get to their precinct and are able to vote, so they try to go to the closest one. In Virginia, you have to go where you're registered to vote, so you can't go to a random precinct in Alexandria. That's kind of a common instance in which provisional ballots are not counted. So it's a case-by-case basis.
Wow, that's very important for our 278 members and friends that live in Virginia, because you're right, people leaving work, trying to get home, and then they want to go out and vote, and then they don't go to their polling spot because of maybe traffic, time leaving off work, or something of that nature. But if they want their vote to be counted, it's very important that everybody knows that you have to go to your polling station that you are assigned to. Very important. Now, can an individual register on site and vote the same day of the primaries?
In the primary, there will not be same-day registration, except for limited cases, such as if the individual is a member of the military or recently returned from the military or overseas.
What about for the general election?
For the general election, it is currently going to be implemented. We have not seen exactly how the state plans on that happening yet.
Okay, wow. Well, Justin, thank you so much for answering those questions for us, and thank you for returning again and being with us this year. It is so helpful for all of our
thank you for having me.
Residents from Virginia to really understand the process in this particular way. For those of you who are watching, you're from Virginia and you have questions, you can put the questions in the chat. We're going to get to your questions in just a moment for all of our officials that are on the call. But Justin, can you give me the telephone number? Can you recite the telephone number for Virginia voters to call if they have additional questions?
So for the city of Alexandria, our number is 703-746-4050. We'll do our best to answer any questions that you have. If it's something that is specific to a different locality, we'll redirect individuals there. I do not have the state's phone number offhand, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate it. Listen, as we said at the top of the hour, this is so critical. We are in the primary elections. As Regina said, this is so critical at this particular point. We just heard from Virginia, and we're getting ready to hear from the District of Columbia. We have about 400, right at about 390, 398 or 400 of our members and friends that's in our database that live in the District of Columbia. And so Ms. Key is getting ready to come, and she's going to let us know, just give us a brief overview of the election process in the District of Columbia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camille Key. I'm with the DC Board of Elections, and I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully you all can see it.
We got you.
All right. Perfect. So very briefly, I'll just go over some times and the timeline and the important dates for you all to remember. So we will begin, DC Board of Elections will begin mailing, we'll begin sending in the mail all ballots starting May 16th, 2022. So anytime after May 16th is when you should, all DC registered voters should receive their mail-in ballot, anytime after May 16th. Mail-in drop boxes will become available on May 27th, 2022. So those will be conveniently located at different places located around you. The last day to register by mail or make changes to your voter registration will be May 31st, 2022, and that's for the primary election. And then your deadline to request your absentee ballot will be June 6, 2022. We will have candidates running for the delegate to the United States House of Representatives, the mayor of the District of Columbia, the chairman of the Council of the District of Columbia, the at-large member of the Council of the District of Columbia, ward member of the councils of DC for wards 1, 3, 5, and 6, attorney general for the District of Columbia, United States representative, as well as national and local party committee members. Early voting will be June 10th, 2022 through Sunday, June 19th, 2022. So you have about 9 days to get in there and do that if you want to go in for early voting. We'll have 40 vote centers available during that time period. And those times that they will be available are 8:30 a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. The primary election day is set for Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. That day we will have 90 vote centers available for election day. Those times will run through 7:30 a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. Same day voter registration will be available from early voting through early voting as well as on election day if you do miss that May 31st deadline. If you would like to register with our paper application, here's a screenshot of what our paper application looks like. It can be found on our website. As well as if you are at an outreach event, which our outreach events are listed on our website as well. This is the application that you will complete. The requirements for you to be able to register to vote here in DC, you must be a United States citizen, you must be a resident of the District of Columbia, you must maintain your residency for at least 30 days prior to the election in which you're intending to vote. You must not claim the voting residency or the right to vote in another U.S. state or territory. You must be at least 17 years old, but 18 by election day. And then you must not be found legally incompetent to vote by a court of law, so that you don't have a court document saying that you're unable to vote. Incarcerated citizens and returning citizens are all eligible and eligible to be able to register and vote here in DC. The proof of residence that you would need if you're registering on the same day of election day or during early voting, you can use a government issued photo ID, a current utility bill dated within the last 90 days, a bank statement, a government check or paycheck, or any other government issued document. And if you are a displaced individual, you may use a lease or a homeless shelter statement. When you receive your mail-in ballot, this is what will come in the mail, and this is how you will know it's a DC Board of Elections official mail. If you're looking to be an election worker, you must be a District of Columbia resident. You must be at least 16 years old. You must be fully vaccinated. You must complete a 4-hour training course prior to the election, and then you must work at the polling place from 6 a.m. until dismissal. Here's our trusted source of voting election information. If you're looking to reach us, our number is 202-727-2525. Our website in which all this information can be found is www.dcboe.org. Our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are all at vote4DC. If you're looking to request the absentee ballot, you can email absentee@dcboe.org. In our outreach division, our email is outreach@dcboe.org. Here's my information. If you're looking to reach me, my name is Camille Key, and I can be reached via email, kkey@dcboe.org, or my telephone number is 202-235-4298.
Thank you, Camille. Just real quick, how soon after a person submit their request for a mail-in ballot should they expect to receive it?
So as of right now, because we are mailing all ballots to all DC residents, we're telling everyone that anytime after May 16th is when you can look to expect it in the mail. So we try not to put a time frame on it of exactly, we don't really want to tell people exactly when to expect it, but we do tell them to at least try to look out in the mail between a week and 2 weeks after all of the mail-in ballots are sent out.
And the early voting dates and election dates for the primary in general, can you give us those one more time?
Yes, so early voting will be June 10, 2022 through June 19, and then we will be closed for the holiday, which is Juneteenth, which is the 20th, and then we will be open for the primary election on June 21st. And
as in the same as Virginia, I want to ask this question. If an individual can register this on-site and vote the same day for the primaries, are they able to do that?
Yes. So if you missed the deadline, which the deadline to be able to register by mail or to make any changes is May 31st, you can come in and you can register same day. You would just need, of course, your proof of residence and stuff like that in DC.
Okay.
But you can register on the same day.
And also for the general election as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. So you see the difference with Virginia, you're not able to on the primaries, but you are on the general. But DC, you're able to do it for the primary and also for the general in that particular way. And what about, again, college students and our military that may be either out of state or international with these that are DC residents? So
if they're out of state, they should send an email to absentee@dcboe.org, to request their absentee ballot.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Keys. Thank you so much. And we're going to come back real soon and get more questions to you all. Dr. Z is going to come and he's going to give us an overview of the state of Maryland. The bulk of our constituents is in Maryland. Over 2,800 of our members and friends are in the state of Maryland, and Dr. Z is going to give us an overview of the process for the state of Maryland. Because, hey, I mean, we got Montgomery County, we got Howard County, Prince George's County, Anne Arundel County, St. Charles County. Dr. Z, you got a lot to cover.
Thank you. I'm going to show a little PowerPoint. It's focused on Montgomery County, so I will apologize.
Okay.
I work at the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Let me start the slideshow, and I promise, if you know me, I could talk, so I'll try to keep it to 5 minutes. Is everyone able to see the screen?
Yes, we are. Go.
So at the end of the day, voting is a foundation stone for political action, as our brother Dr. Martin Luther King said. Once again, the election date changed from June 28th to July 19th, of course, with redistricting and how that affected all of the local boards of elections. But nonetheless, election day is now Tuesday, July 19th, and early voting will be held from the 7th through the 14th of July. Now note, Montgomery County has 14 early voting centers, but depending on your jurisdiction in the state of Maryland and the population size, you may have anything from 3, and Montgomery County has 14. Having said that, register to vote. That's the keystone of everything. Everything that we do at every single local board of elections is based off the voter registration database. Something that's pretty neat that Montgomery County did, we have a texting prompt. So for those who need to register to vote, you could text the word vote, VOTE, to the number 77788. This is not just unique to Montgomery County. This will take you to the Maryland State Board of Elections online voter registration system. So if you're in Anne Arundel County, Prince George's, Wacomico, you could use this system. The voter registration deadline is June 28th. Now, what's unique to Maryland, to other states, is that we have closed primaries. So to review or update your voter registration, your name, your address, and very specifically, your party affiliation, you could text the word check to 77788, text the word check to 77788. And the voter registration deadline and the party affiliation change deadline is the 28th of June. What's important is you could change your address. You could update your address during early voting and on election day, and we do have same-day voter registration, but you cannot change your party affiliation in Maryland. And it's extremely important that you do. It's also important that everyone maintains their voter registration up to date and current. That is your responsibility. We would try our best at any given time to do a lot of outreach, but anytime you move, you must notify your local board of elections. One of the urban myths is when you go to the post office and you get your mail forwarded, all your blessed phone bills and credit card bills, they'll be forwarded to your new residential address, but nothing mailed from the local boards of elections will be forwarded. And so what's interesting, your residential address determines where you will vote on election day. You are tied to your neighborhood precinct. However, if for whatever reason on election day, July 19th, you can't make it to your neighborhood precinct, you could go to any precinct, but you will need to vote a provisional ballot. For the same reason our brother from Virginia noted, we will need to make sure that you haven't submitted or requested to vote by mail, or you haven't voted in another precinct. But for early voting, you're not tied to your specific residential address. You could go to any early voting center in your corresponding county. Now, it's very important that everything is current, even your signature, because sometimes we do petitions, and if your signature does not match your voter registration, you run the risk of that submission not counting. So it's important that everything is up to date from your signature to your name to your party affiliation and your residential address. In Montgomery County, just as a snapshot, just about a fourth of our registered voters, of about 170,000, are registered independent, green, libertarian, etc. They will vote for school board. So if there's a candidate that you want to support with your vote, you need to make sure that your voter registration reflects that candidate. Otherwise, you will vote a provisional ballot if you change your voter registration during early voting or on election day. Full disclosure for all of our brothers and sisters, whether it's Maryland, Virginia, DC, we don't make the rules, we follow them. So with early voting, once again, depending on your jurisdictions, is the number of voters that you would have. The more people that vote by mail or early voting, you'll have shorter lines on election day. But definitely make your vote plan. These are our 14 early voting centers that we have in Montgomery County. Once again, depending on your jurisdiction, that will change. You may have less or more, but you definitely need to make a vote plan and Google your corresponding local boards of elections. Now, voting by mail, that's another way. You have 3 options. I call the Maryland franchise the Cheesecake Factory of voting. We have multiple options. You have voting by mail, right? You have 2 in-person options, which is election day, which is on July 19th. And you have 8 consecutive days of early voting from July 7th through the 14th. You can request to vote by mail. It doesn't matter what county in the state of Maryland. Text the 3 letters VBM. It's not case specific. VBM for vote by mail to 77788. And we ask, if this is what you want to vote, you need to follow through, because if you request to vote by mail and you show up to vote in person, you will vote per ballot. You're just going to add extra time to your voting experience. Once again, we just follow the rules, we don't make them. And voting by mail has been in existence since the Civil War. It's secure, it's easy. We've been doing it for a millennium, over a century. So by all means, it's a legitimate way for you to exercise your constitutional right to vote. This is just a document from the Civil War where there was an affidavit affirming that the individual submitting their vote by mail or absentee ballot was the individual who requested it. And for those in 2020, we have implemented what is called ballot drop boxes. There was a lot of issues and concerns with the United States Postal Office. Nonetheless, we have ballot drop boxes. This specific text is specific to Montgomery County. Once the ballot drop boxes have been installed, you could text the word box and your zip code, and our system will give you the four closest ballot drop box locations and a post office locator. But nonetheless, every single county will have an X amount of ballot drop boxes depending on the size. Montgomery County has 53. And so we also have a MoCo voter apps that will give all this information that we talk. We're updating the app right now, and hopefully within the next month, we will have it live, and you could download it from either Google app or the Play Store. And what's unique to Montgomery County is we have Section 203 of the 1975 Voter Rights Act. And what that means is that we must provide the entire election process, from ballots to judges to signage to the website to myself as a personnel, in Spanish. And there's this kind of urban myth that in order to vote, you need to speak English. No, that's not correct. English is not the official language of this nation. But nonetheless, for those individuals who want to become naturalized citizens, there is kind of a requirements. However, if you are 55 years of age and you've been living in the U.S. as a legal U.S. resident for at least 15 years, you could bypass the English requirements for the citizenship naturalization interview or exam. And if you're 60 years of age, it's 20. It's the 20, 55, 15 law. And what we do is we do a lot of outreach, just like our local jurisdictions. Working with the State Board of Elections, we actually increased the franchise by translating the voter registration and the vote by mail applications in these languages: Spanish, French, Korean, simplified, traditional Chinese, and hopefully in the future we'll add some more. And what's unique to Montgomery County, we have the Future Vote program. For 18 years, we've been incorporating our youth into the process. We work with over 45,000 students, over 27,000 families. We've registered thousands of young men and women at local high schools and colleges. And also we have one of the youngest poll worker force in the United States, because we incorporate these students to serve as poll workers. And to serve as a poll worker, you must be at least 16 years of age, a US citizen, and registered to vote. You can earn up to $210. Every jurisdiction is a little bit different. Some are higher, some are lower. In Montgomery County, if you want to apply to serve as a poll worker, text the word serve to 77788. And at the end of the day, it's your voice and it's your vote, and we're here to serve.
Appreciate that. Is there I believe that for the entire state, and you can probably answer this, when it comes to our college students and our military, those that are out of town or out of state or international, that the process is the same throughout the state?
Yes. So what we encourage that individuals to make a vote plan if you are going to be out of state during in-person voting from the 7th of July through the 19th of July. We would encourage you to submit to request to vote by mail. We have the military overseas process, and also we have multiple ways of you to request. You can visit your local Board of Elections website for using your texting the letters VBM to 77788, or you can visit the Maryland State Board of Elections to request to vote by mail ballot.
Thank you so much, Dr. Z. We have Ms. Nicole, who is going to give us the information for Arundel County. Ms. Nicole, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here. So Dr. Z covered so much stuff, and thank you. It makes my job a little bit harder, but easier. So in Arundel County, we have like the offices that are being ran are 10. So it's the county executive, it's the county council, state attorney, clerk for the circuit court, register of wills, judge for the orphan court, Anne Arundel County sheriff, Republican Central Committee at large, Republican Central Committee, and then the Democratic Central Committee. We don't have any municipal elections this year. The city of Annapolis was last year. This question did come up. If you are a resident alien, can you participate in the city of Annapolis election? The answer is no. Annapolis hasn't passed that yet. I don't even know if it's even on the council's, in their eyesight in the future or anything like that. So still in Anne Arundel County, in our 2 municipals, you cannot participate. I'm sorry. Voting centers. We are going to have 9 early voting sites this coming up election. Some of them have been changed. We're looking for sites, so I'm asking all Anne Arundel County residents to please go to our local website. It is aacounty, county is spelled out, .org/elections. Friend us on Facebook and Twitter, because a lot of the things that end up on like the information and the notes, I put that up on our social media also. So once we get all of our sites locked down, it'll pop up there. We're still having some things are in flux for our drop boxes. So we know that they're going to be at all the libraries in the county and pretty much all of the high schools. There are some other sites that will be polling places on the 19th of July. Some of the other locations that weren't connected to schools, they have been moved because they didn't have a lot of people going to them. They were, very few ballots in those, so they're going to allocate those to different locations. So Anne Arundel County is definitely in flux when it comes to the election, but come to our website and we will get everything up to date as things are locked down. We have been working really hard with getting just the message out to our young people, our high school students, register early. You're 16 or 17, you can register to vote. My whole thing now is like we're planting seeds. We're planting seeds for our freshmen and our sophomores, just so they know that if they are 17 at a primary, that they can participate if they will be 18 by the general election. And our 18-year-olds were just like, they always say you get a lot of publicity about the presidential election and it's so important, but every election is important, from the local to the state to the federal level. If you want to be an election judge, you can come to the website, and we have an online application, and you can also print out an application. And we need Republican judges. We are over blessed with Democratic and unaffiliated, but if you have some family members who are Republican, please ask them to be an election judge to work with us. They're out there. And I know they want to know how they can help their county to do better and be better. So come on out and go to our website and become an election judge for us. You get 3 hours of training. You did get paid for training. The night before the primary election, if you help set up, you get paid for that. And of course, election day, you get paid for that. They actually raised some of the volunteer pay. So definitely come to our website. You notice I'm trying to get a lot of traffic to our website. I think let me see if I can screen share it real quick, because I did go to it. Let me see. I think this is it. Let me see. So this is our website, and everything in the spotlight, which is in the center. It's like board meetings and changing sites, as you can see. You can do your requests by mail ballots. And of course, would you like to be an election judge? And I'm going to click on that real quick. There you go. And if you have any questions, you can contact the Election Workers Department. You can email us, which is right there, electionjudges@aacounty.org. You can call us. The department number is 410-222-0494. My direct number is 410-222-0411. If I can't answer the question, I can get you to the department that will answer the question for you, especially if it's like vote by mail department questions. I can definitely get you to the correct person who knows all the answers. So sometimes you're like rolling the dice, because we do have some new people who are still in training. They want to help so badly, but sometimes they are not as confident in their answers as they need to be. So we'll get you to the employees that know all the answers. So there's no problem with that. Let's see. So you can see the online application right here, and the election judge application that they can print is a PDF. There's qualifications. Contact us. Contact us if you are interested in being an election judge. We love it when we get new judges. And I hope everybody really thinks about this election. Like Ms. Regina said earlier, we need to look at our local levels, at our state levels. We need to have our elected officials work for us. We are their bosses. They are beholden to us to keep their positions. Local boards are very nonpartisan. We do not choose sides, but as a resident, raised in Arundel County, I love my county. I want it to do better. I want better for our children. I want better for our senior citizens. So Anne Arundel County, let's do better. Let's get involved. Let's make our officials work for us. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Nicole. Thank you, Ms. Nicole. Now we're going to hear from Brother Freddie, who is representing Prince George's County. This is our largest constituents right here in Prince George's County, so we desperately need to hear from you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Z and Ms. Key, I hope y'all done an outstanding job as always. I'd like to start my presentation by saying, in the state of Maryland, if you have a heartbeat, you can vote. And repeat that again. If you have a heartbeat in the state of Maryland, you can vote.
Amen.
We are now in the process. We are training election judges now. We got two shifts. We got a morning shift and the evening shift. We've been training election judges for the past 2 months. We have not got to the provisional judges yet, same-day registration judges yet, or provisional judges yet. They come next month. When we train our judges this, when individuals come in, they give their name, they give their address and date of birth. But before they leave that station, we let them know there are 2 ways that you can mark your ballot. One is with a paper ballot where you color in, you can see this, where you can color in your lines. The next one is the ballot marking device, where you can mark your ballot. You cannot overvote, not a correction. You cannot overmark your ballot with the ballot marking device as compared to the paper ballot. You can overmark your paper ballot. And also, with that in mind, we have with the ballot marking device, we have what we call a device that's called a sift and puff, where a person who's a paraplegic will bring a device with them, a rocket pound, and they can blow air into the unit in order to vote. In the state of Maryland, if you have a heartbeat, you can vote. If you're blind, you cannot read, whatever the case may be, we have that in process for you. What I'm very proud of is the mail-in ballots. Whereas in the state of Maryland, you recently received a letter that you can have all your ballots mailed to your address for the rest of your entire life. Now, we know there are some individuals out there who want to be in that line. They go back to the days when you had to stand in line, and they feel a part of it. But we made it so convenient for you. And this is very, very good when you live in a assisted living home or you're in a hospital, some kids like that. And what we got is in progress as well is you can have someone go pick up your ballots, bring it to you, assist you in filling it out, and bring it back to the Board of Elections. There's no problem. The state of Maryland, you have a heartbeat, you can vote. Also, Dr. Z and my constituent touched upon provisional ballot. We have a provisional ballot. There are 12 reason codes in which you must use to determine a provisional ballot. And therefore, you would, for example, you could say not listed in the precinct register, listed on the precinct register, but not indicate a change of address. There are 12 reason codes that you can use in order for you to vote. And we have 40 drop boxes that we're going to put out as of the 1st of June. And we got age 17, you can register to vote. Most important, if you are a convicted felon and have served your state time, you can show up the day of, you can register to vote. If you have not registered to vote, you can show up same day registration. So I really do not personally push for people to register to vote. I push for them to show up and vote because you can do that as well. You get caught up in fraternities and sororities. We registered 10,000 people this year. But how many are going to show up and to vote? Show up, register to vote. Don't show up and register to vote. You do not have a voice. So do not complain. Dr. Z and Ms. Key, y'all have addressed all the issues that I would have addressed. But the good part about this, and what I love, is the ballot marking device where you can mark your ballot, same day registration, provisional ballot. Now, one thing must be explained with the provisional ballot. If you are not in the correct polling place, you would not have the option of voting on those local issues, only statewide issues. So therefore, we have a way where we can show you where your polling location is located, and you send right to that location. You got 8 days of early voting, which means that on election day, the rebel should not be in the polling place because you get 8 days to register to vote. And so election day, it should be a free day because there's no way that you can say, I did not get a chance to cast my ballot. In the state of Maryland, you have a heartbeat. You can show up and you can vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Freddie. I appreciate that. That's the line for tonight. If you have a heartbeat in Maryland, D.C., or Virginia, you need to get out here and you need to vote. He said some things that I think are so critical because we don't have a right to complain if we're not going to get out here and, again, make a difference by voting. It's one thing to register, but it's another thing to actually go and vote. So Maryland has made it somewhat easy for us. You got 8 days of early voting, so you have no excuse to go out there and make sure that you are registered to vote and go on and put it in. Just go on and click those. And remember, he said something that was very key. If you don't go to your exact polling place, you can still vote on state issues, but you won't be able to vote on local issues. So that's very important in that particular way, so you understand that particular fashion. For those you're watching, if you have any questions while we have them on the line, we're going to open up real quickly. Put your questions in the chat. Again, whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube or from our website, whether you have questions for D.C., Maryland, or Virginia, I thank you guys so much. You guys covered a wealth of information, giving us all that we need. There is nothing out here, I believe, that people should not know the process even though the dates and things of that nature have changed in this particular way. I do have, for the redistricting in Maryland, how is that going to affect the voting this year in this particular way from you guys' perspective with this redistricting that we're seeing taking place?
I would say, seem like every year when they have an election, they always want to cut up the boundary lines in order to get a piece of the pie, for that example. But I cannot see it hurting the state of Maryland at all. You can go out, you can vote, you can voice your opinion. Now, Dr. Z and Ms. Key, please chime in and please add your piece to this.
So, of course, every decade there's a census, and the census is kind of the catalyst for redistricting. And I know there was a lot of mudslinging, confusion, the court cases. Look, the date is July 19th. Early voting is from the 7th to the 14th of July. Make the vote. It's in the past. I tell individuals, the redistricting was a process that had to take place. Nonetheless, every single jurisdiction is legally required to mail every single registered voter a sample ballot. And that's one thing we didn't touch upon, a sample ballot. And a sample ballot is basically, I call it the cheat sheet of election day. It gives you all of the options, everything that we talked about that's very specific to your county, has all the contact information for the State Board of Elections and your local Board of Elections. So please, whether your precinct, so for example, I live in Clarksburg, and I assume with redistricting, I was able to walk to a new elementary school they just built. Guess what? I still have to go to my other precinct, Hadley Wells, which is about 2 miles away. Guess what? It's okay. I have a vote plan. I'm not going to lose sleep over the inconvenience of getting in my car, because at the end of the day, if you spend more time getting ready for Black Friday or Thanksgiving, then there's no reason why you can't vote.
Okay. Here's a question that I think people don't. If you are a registered Republican in the state of Maryland, can you vote in the primaries?
Yes. Like they said earlier, Maryland is a closed primary state. So that means that the two main parties, Republican and Democrat, it is their primary. All of the other ones, I know we recognize, the Libertarian, the Green. There's another one, the Working Class. I think that's one. And all, some other fringe ones that may be out there. They choose their own candidates in a different way. So Republicans can participate in the primary, and so can Democrats. Unaffiliated, if your local school board, if your district is having an election, then you can participate in the primary also. That's how it is in Anne Arundel County.
And I'd like to touch back on what Dr. Z said, that with the sample ballot that comes out, you can get it out way in advance. So what you can do is sit down each day between TV shows, sit down before you pray, do your sample ballot, do the complete booklet. So therefore, if you have any questions of these candidates, all the signs are out there, but you can always call them to get their views on certain things. So when you show up with your sample ballot. And keep one thing important in mind in Prince George and the state of Maryland. No electronic devices would be permitted inside the polling places. Point one. Point two, if you bring your filled out ballots with you, we have poll watchers or individual greeters who will walk down the line, get your ballot and bring it in with you, or you can go to a drop box and drop it off so you don't have to stand in that long, long line.
So when will do you guys know the dates of when the sample ballots will be mailed out?
As of now, I do not know, because the court cases that's been, I think just got passed about 2 days ago, or 3 days ago. So they probably just print them out now.
Now, going back to the, so I want to make sure I'm clear on this, that if you are a registered Republican and you live in Prince George's County, you can vote in the primaries as a Democrat?
No. You have to vote party lines.
That's
you
what
can't
I want.
Cross party lines.
Oh,
yeah.
In the primaries, you cannot. Yeah, in the primary, you cannot cross party lines.
No.
Correct.
Okay.
No. And that's the reason why in Montgomery County, we have a fourth of our voters are independent, unaffiliated, green, purple, yellow, socialist, communist, whatever other party. So the one thing I've seen, and this is not just Montgomery County, when voters want to vote in person and they check in and they say, I want to vote a ballot, and then they get an unaffiliated ballot with just school board, they go ballistic and they say it's disenfranchisement. We don't make the rules. We just follow them. And we're here preaching to the individual, especially our independent brothers and sisters. If there is a candidate, if you want to vote, let's say for Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse is a Democrat, and you want to vote for Goofy, and Goofy's a Republican, you better be either a Republican or a Democrat if you want to vote for those candidates. If you're unaffiliated, you will get a ballot. It's just going to be school board.
Not the ballot they want.
Yeah, and that's the ballot you're going to get. So at any time until June 28th, okay, June 28th, 21 days before Election Day, you could change your affiliation, which means I could be independent. I could choose to be a Democrat or a Republican, vote in their primary, and then switch back to unaffiliated. But give yourself that opportunity. So as candidates start knocking on doors and you see them at events and a flyer, there's someone that kind of, you want to support for whatever of the partisan contest, you must be registered in that party. There's no crossing party lines.
That right there, audience, is very important that you hear that. That is extremely important because I think a lot of times what ends up happening, you're going to go to the poll and you're going to try to vote Democratic and you don't realize that you're Republican, or you Republican, you want to vote Democratic and you won't be able to switch. So Dr. Z gave you the information earlier. So we have until June the 28th. And especially
say it 2 more times. June 28th. June 28th is the deadline.
Deadline. And especially for those who live in Prince George's County, which is a heavy Democratic, and Montgomery County, heavy Democratic. And so you want to make sure in the primaries, if you make that switch if you're Republican, Independent, Green Party, whatever, so that your voice can be heard. Dr. Z is putting the information up. Go, Brother Freddie. I'm sorry.
Get his phone number to you as well for Prince George's County. If you have any questions, please dial 301-341-7300 or 301-341-7345. And we are looking for election judges. So just don't sit on the sideline and complain. Get out there and get in the fight.
And I'm showing you my cell phone. So all you need to do to update or to review your voter registration, just text the word check, CHECK, and the number is 77788. And that doesn't matter if you're in Montgomery County, anyone in Anne Arundel, any of the other counties, because that link will take you to the Maryland State Board of Elections online voter registration system. So we created it for Montgomery County. We do recognize that as brothers and sisters, we need to work together, because a lot of times Montgomery County, people move out of the county because it is an expensive county to own a piece of property. And so when our voters move out to Anne Arundel, to Frederick County, to Howard County, we need to serve them as well. So please, it's an easy system. Text it. You need to have a Maryland driver's license, a permit or ID. Quick, do not wait, do not procrastinate. I understand tax season was on Monday, so you have some time to update your registration and register to vote.
Okay. And also, if you're going to have same-day registration, all you need is your driver's license. And they will scan your driver's license, and therefore you can register and vote on the same day, at the same time. Also, I'd like to give you another email, which is www.elections.maryland.gov. If you have any questions.
Now, Ms. Kay and Justin, is it the same for DC and Virginia as well? If you are Republican, you got to vote Republican. If you're Democrat, you got to vote Democrat for the primaries.
In Virginia, nobody is registered by party, so the primaries are open.
Okay.
The only thing is that if the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are having a primary on the same day, you have to decide which one you are going to vote in. You can't vote in both.
Oh, wow.
Gotcha.
And with the primary election, it is the closed primary. So it is only for the Democratic, for the Republican, DC Statehood Green, and Libertarian. And so, yeah, you must vote with your party unless you're looking to update your voter registration before that deadline comes, or unless you'd like to update your voter registration during election day or early voting.
Okay, what's their deadline for DC?
The deadline to update your voter registration by mail is May 31st. And if you would like to come in and do it on election day, you can do it on June 21st, or you can do it during early voting, which is June 10th through June 19th. Okay.
Wow. Wow, that is some good information right there. Now, for our three individuals from the state of Maryland, do any of you know are knowledgeable about the process for Charles County? Is it pretty much the same?
I would go Dr. Z.
Oh, no, you got it. Good.
I would say it would be the same, and I hope Ms. Hill agrees as well. I think it'd be the same because it's the state of Maryland, and I think the state of Maryland has a unique situation, whereas when I gave a presentation to someone in another state of Connecticut, they never heard of the statement that if you have a heartbeat, you can vote. And so this is Maryland. I would say, yes, they have the same process as we have in place.
Great. Thank you so much. Sister Virginia, you had your hand up. Do we have any questions?
I just wanted to remind everybody that we are putting on Sunday mornings in the chat on YouTube and Facebook. We've been putting the main numbers for DC, Maryland, and Virginia Board of Elections, and remind everyone to stay tuned to the bi-weekly social justice gems that we've been putting out. We've been putting out a lot of this information. You can click right on the links. We had it broken down by DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I'm going to update it and send it out again because I didn't have that text information. And also a reminder that we are doing some in-person registration and information sharing. The next time that we'll be doing that will be this coming Sunday. So you can stop at the desk. I'll make sure that we look up some more information to see if there's any difference in Charles County, and persons can stop by for that information as well. We're trying to make it accessible to everybody. We've been posting the gems on Realm twice a week, and a lot of times that will contain information about voting. We're doing it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram pages. So if you have a question, there's some way to be able to get that information. And what we did, even in the last posting, we had the links where you could actually go to places like Ballotpedia and look up those candidates one by one and see those that are already elected officials, what their voting records have been, or information even those that are running have shared, so it can help you to kind of make some decisions about who you want to vote for.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Miss Kay.
Yeah, I wanted to make a brief. I wanted to make a brief correction for voting in the primary for DC residents. The last day to make your change for your party and update your party affiliation will be through mail May 31st, but only first-time registrants will be able to claim a party affiliation during early voting and on election day. So if you are looking to change your party registration for the upcoming primary election, make sure that you're making your changes to your party registration by May 31st, because you will not be able to change your party during election day and during early voting.
Got you. Dr. Z?
Yes, Sister Gilmore, when she said something served as a catalyst. All of the local boards of elections in Maryland, we have something called voter registrar training. And so if you would like to assist the Board of Elections or get a training on how to properly fill the voter registration application. Now, there's no legal requirement to do the training in Maryland. The reason why we encourage individuals to take the voter registrar training is because at the end of the day, we get a better product and all roads lead back to the Board of Elections. So the worst thing that we hate getting is an application that you can't read, is filled out incorrectly or incomplete, no signature. So it's important if you're not doing it online or using the texting system, that mitigates individuals' inability to write neatly. And we love our young voters, but as you know, penmanship is not a forte for them. And none of us, at least at Montgomery County, we don't have an anthropologist on staff to decipher the paperwork that comes in. So by all means, contact your local boards of elections. Every one of them does it a little bit differently, but anything you could do to help us, including help us recruit poll workers. Obviously, as Sister Hill said, in Montgomery County and Anne Arundel and other counties, we need Republicans. But if you talk to our brothers and sisters in Kent County or Wicomico, they need Democrats. So, we need judges, period. By all means, try it. You might get the election bug and you actually will like it. But without you guys, we can't run this party.
Amen.
And the other thing we wanted to add that the social justice members at the Shepherd's House, we've all been trained on the state of Maryland to register everybody, and we've done the online training through Virginia. So we have written guidelines, we have paper information for those that are not comfortable all the time with going online. And when you stop at the desk, Pastor always notes when we'll be out there in the front lobby on a Sunday. So we're providing the information to you that way as well.
All right. Brother Freddie.
Also keep this in mind, you must be physically able to do this job. Some individuals, whether you're a senior or not a senior, all you see is dollar signs. And you say, I can do that. But you got to be physically able to do this. For example, when you're setting up the polling place, you may be at 5 a.m. in the morning. Or if there's weather problems, you may not leave out of that place until maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night. You must bring all your medication, you must bring your food, you must bring all the comfort that you need, because once you're in that polling place, you cannot leave that polling place. So make sure that you're physically able to lift the equipment, to set the equipment up, to take the equipment down. Make sure you're physically able to put the signs out where your chief judge would tell you to put those signs out. You just don't pick an individual, a male, do the signs, or a female to do the same thing. We just pick, I need you to do this. You will be physically able to do it.
All right. Well, I want to thank.
We're in Maryland. I'm sorry. In Maryland, we're kind of scaring off the people that might be election judges. It's also a fun day. You're with your neighbors, your community. You can organize potlucks there. We have polling locations that is the same group that, every 2 years they get together, they look forward to it. So you do get a lot out of it. So I hope that you will consider it. If you have a parent that did it and they can't do it anymore, take their spot. So go ahead, Pastor Kevin.
Well, listen, they need help. So listen, I'm glad Brother Freddie just put it out there so people would know it's work, but it's you came back and balanced it, but it's fun work. It's a part of the process. We got to make sure that everybody's aware of it. I want to thank you guys so much for sharing tonight. Our listeners, we're going to continue to share this through our platform so people will know the process. We want people to be aware, and I think Brother Freddie said it, whether you're in D.C., Maryland, or Virginia, if you have a heartbeat, you can vote. Brother David, you want to close us out if you have any last-minute words?
I just want to thank everyone for just sharing all the different viewpoints that we have from all the different jurisdictions. And I think it's just something that we all just have to continue to promote as far as just registering and voting as well. And so I know we have some partners from partner churches that they're going to be working with us in voter turnout and so forth. So this is just one step toward just making sure that people are informed and engaged. And I just thank everyone for participating tonight.
Again, yeah, I want to echo his sentiment again and say it again. Thank you guys so much for representing your area. The information that you shared tonight is invaluable. It really helps us to understand the process up this coming year. Again, for all of our registered voters, it's great that you registered, but now we need you to put your feet to the fire. We need you to get out there and do it. They also need help. So please understand that was something that was reiterated over and over again, whether you in D.C., Maryland, or Virginia, regardless of the county, they need help. Democrats and Republicans, they need help. So let's get out there and support on this day. Thank you guys so much again. This is critical, very critical. After we finish praying and asking God to move, we have a civil responsibility to get up now and get out there and vote. On behalf of myself, my wife, the leadership here at the Shepherd's House, to all of you that are watching and will watch this in post, God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We thank you so much for being a part of our town hall meeting for this, our first one actually for this year of 2022. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Good night. Stay blessed.
All right.
Thanks for inviting us.
Sister